right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It's a beautiful Monday. Hope you're doing as well as the weather is. It's just a nice day out there today. If you're a writer, you are going to love this next story. We have on the phone Jake Marley. He's an award-winning writer and the winner of the Golden Pen Award for the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Writers of the Futures Award for 2017. And I was reading a little bit about him, and it sounded like, I think he won $5,000. Am I right, Robin?
Yep.
About that? But 5 words made all the difference. I'm going to have him explain what I mean by that. But 5 words. For those of you who are writers, you'll love this story. Jake Marley, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Orange County here in California, about 3 miles away from Disneyland.
Is that where you live? Do you live there?
Yeah, that's where I live.
I was watching some of the live, whatever they do on YouTube, of the award ceremony. So I got to see some of it, but I fell asleep before the ending of it. So I didn't get to see you walking down the aisle there, but I did see the video later on. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the ending's the best part. I went crazy.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Did it feel? I mean, you live there. I know some of the contestants who enter come from all over the country. In fact, all over the world. So for you, it's kind of in your backyard.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't get the flight to Hollywood. I had to drive.
Yeah.
I hope they gave you gas money.
Yeah. Well, I'm close enough. I didn't need it. But, yeah, we had winners from England, from Finland, and the artists were from all over the world as well. So it was pretty exciting.
What's amazing to me is sometimes writers get rejection letters, and then other people, even without adding 5 words, and I want you to explain that, but even without changing anything, they'll get these major deals and these major accolades, and there are all kinds of stories, and you have to wonder, I mean, it's not always... As a writer, when you get so many rejection letters, and I'm just assuming that this has been part of your experience, because every writer tells me this, there must be a point where you start to say, maybe I'm not good enough. Did that ever happen to you?
Oh, yeah. Right. You know, what that there's a thing called self-rejection. You know, when you get one rejection, it just hits you so hard, you're done. You know, and actually, I've been writing for so long that I got a personal rejection, which is really hard to get from an editor. You know, it means you're pretty close. But I got one in 2003 that pretty much shut me down. You know, like I kept trying to write, but I stopped submitting things that I was writing, and I didn't realize that I'd actually gotten a really great rejection letter where the guy is just saying, "Hey, this is not right for me, but it's pretty good. Send it back out." But I took it as it's not right at all, and so you know, I just kept writing and writing and writing. You know. In secret for years until this is my first publication now in 2017.
And I hope that the self-esteem that was practically destroyed by some of those rejection letters has been revived. Was the story you just referred to, was it Acquisition? Was that the story?
No, it was a different story. It was kind of an entire different genre. It was way more fantasy geared, and so you know, if I'd had a different network, I think at the time I might be a fantasy writer today. But instead, I am writing supernatural suspense stories, which is actually where my heart is, and so I'm really, really, really enjoying myself right now. Acquisition is the first story I submitted to the contest that I had actually written for myself, not for the contest. You know, I submitted about 7 stories to the contest trying to win the contest. This one I just wrote for myself. And
oh, my gosh. Isn't that something?
Submitted it.
Doesn't it speak to that thing that everybody says, do what you love and not what you think is going to make you money?
Yeah, exactly. I am a poster boy for that right now.
Well, what exactly is the difference between science fiction and fantasy? You would think they would be one and the same.
Oh, well, I like to think of science fiction as the technical part of the imagination. You know, it's the what can humans build, what can humans aspire to, and fantasy is just imagination run wild. It could be anything from dragons to ghosts to magical kingdoms hiding in your closets. You know, so it's a little shift of perspective, but it's also I mean, generally there's lots of crossover, and nowadays genre fiction is kind of all over the map, and people love to blend and mix, and it kind of makes some very, very, very interesting stories and some very interesting writers.
I wonder if some of the things that were written in L. Ron Hubbard's day that were considered fantasy would actually be viewed today as science fiction before, once the computer became part of everything we do, it changed everything we do, and we never saw it coming.
Oh yeah, we live in a science fiction community right now. Absolutely.
Yeah. So so he might have been rejected. Somebody might have been rejected back then for writing fantasy when it was, they might have been told.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of science fiction I've read that even when I was a kid, that by today's standards, is quaint. It's already outdated. But it was so high tech in the 80s and 90s that just today we just have it all in our pocket and carry it around with us every day.
I know.
Well, the authors of today, then, when they enter this contest, does everything always have to be set in the future with things that haven't been invented yet in the present, or can it be in the present?
Oh, no. My story takes place in contemporary America. It's just a little tweaked because I wrote kind of a horror ghost story. But there's the best part about the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, is that we have 14 different writers with 14 absolutely different voices, and there's fantasy, there's science fiction, there's what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen in space, but there's also what if we encountered aliens in this world, or what if a woman in a fantasy kingdom has to, save her entire culture, and we have so many different great voices and so many new award-winning writers that they're actually incredibly talented people. I was so lucky to get to meet them.
So tell us the 5-word story.
I will tell you the 5-word story. Acquisition, I wrote it last year, right around this time. Excuse me. In March, I had submitted it to the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, which is one of the bigger magazines, and I thought, I really, really, really want to break into the market. It's the same market I actually got a personal rejection in 2003. I love this magazine. So it was a different editor, C.C. Finlay. He's a very, very great editor. And so I got this personal rejection back, which was really, really kind. And he said he read my story and he really enjoyed it. He just didn't really buy the ending. There was one part of it he didn't really get. And when I reread the story, I realized I could fix that little gap in my story with a 5-word sentence. I don't exactly remember what the 5 words is because it was so obnoxious to me. I was like, I just missed this one little gap. So I filled the gap and I wrote that 5-word sentence. And it kind of changed the ending and made everything kind of come together. And I just submitted it 3 days after the deadline for quarter 2. So I missed quarter 2 by 3 or 4 days and just submitted it to quarter 3 of the contest, because the contest is quarterly. It's free to enter.
Yeah.
And, every 3 months you can send a new story in to try and win this opportunity. It's pretty great. But I just forgot about it all summer and didn't think about it and went on with my life. And, my wife and I kind of remodeled the house we live in a little bit, and I didn't think about it at all. I'm not sure how much I actually wrote last summer, but the day before my 38th birthday, September 16th, I got a call from Joni, who coordinates the contest, and said I was a finalist. So I kind of went crazy and, and had a great time.
No, that's exciting.
Oh my goodness, I need to write a whole lot more.
That is exciting. Wow.
So since you got the call that you were a finalist for the 3rd quarter, did that exempt you from sending anything in for the 4th quarter?
No, not at all. Even if you were a published finalist, we had 2 published finalists in our book this year. Molly Elizabeth Atkins and David Von Allman both didn't win first, second, or third place in any of the quarters, but they both had their stories published in this anthology as published finalists, and they're still eligible to actually come back and win the contest still too. So even if you're a published finalist in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 33, or any volume, you can still come back and win the whole thing. We actually had Ron Collins, who was one of the former winners, and he is one of the people who actually did that. He got published in one of the volumes, and he came back and won it the next year. He was sort of around helping us out during our workshop this year.
Cool.
So, is it John Goodwin who told me that he wants a winner from our area? Was it?
Yes.
He was the guest.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if you. But yeah,
he did.
So part of the reason why you're on our radio show today is so that we can get somebody to send in some stories. Now, so you've kind of cleared up a question that I've had about this. So in today's day and age, you can self-publish.
Yes.
So that would not disqualify somebody from entering, correct?
No, I think if you have if you sell 5,000 copies or something pretty, I think if you're a very successful self-publisher, it might. But there are contest rules on the website at writersofthefuture.com, and you have to be pretty successful, I think, to be able to disqualify yourself, actually. But there's a lot of people like Kevin J. Anderson who have pro'd out, they call it, because you have too many professional sales to be.
Yeah, I think he's got a few too many. Yeah.
I like the fact that there were winners from 8 countries this year. I mean, this is a worldwide contest. It's not just a local contest.
Absolutely. The writers and illustrators both, there's 2 contests that run. So if you are an artist, too, from Florida or a writer, you can absolutely submit, like I said, every 3 months you can submit. There's no age range. I mean, you have to be an adult. I think 18 and over, but we have people, I'm 38 now. Like I said, I've been writing since I was 18, but this is my first sale. So my big goal is to tell everybody, do not give up. Please don't ever give up. If you love to write, keep writing. If you love to draw, keep drawing. Be a painter, be an artist. Never, ever, ever quit, because I've had the ups and downs over the last 20 years of always wanting, self-doubt and everything. And this is sort of a dream come true for me. And so if I feel like if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody as long as you keep, persist.
Jake Marley is our guest. He's the award-winning writer for this year's Golden Pen Award for the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future, I guess is what we say here. I always stumble over the whole name of the thing. I want to take a little break. Robert and I watched something that showed, I don't know if it was from this year or a previous year, where the writers get to go into a room to see all the artwork and try to figure out which one is there. So when we come back from the break, I want to ask you about that experience and what that was like. We will take a little break and be right back with Jake Marley.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Monday, partly to mostly sunny and warm with a high of 81 at the coast, 87 inland. Clear to partly cloudy Monday night, lows in the upper 50s to low 60s inland, mid to upper 60s along the coast. Tuesday will be warm with sun and clouds, high 81 on the coast, 88 well inland. For Wednesday, partly sunny, just a chance of a shower in the morning along the coast, the high 81 at the coast, 86 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. So, you used to be wired, now you're just tired. You used to be thin, but now you're the heaviest you've ever been. You don't necessarily always have to take a med if your thyroid is playing dead. If you have a thyroid disorder, an acupuncture visit may be in order. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 572-2510. That's 572-2510.
Next Generation MD is the future of healthcare now. Listen in the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to learn how the future in PRP treatments are here in our area. Find out the many ways that Dr. Juan Jordan, MD, Charles Brooks, NP, and case manager Mark Shaw have brought the family medicine practice to a new level. Hear from the very people that benefit from the fine work they have done in this field. Next Generation MD, every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Residential and commercial. Their work is guaranteed along with your satisfaction. Check their website, silverbackrestoration.com.
20 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. Jake Marley is on the phone. If you're a writer, his story will inspire you to keep on writing. He is the winner of the 2017 Writers of the Future Award. He had a story entered in the contest called Acquisition. And if you heard the little story, he was rejected by a publisher, I think from a magazine, for that story, and got some good constructive feedback, which is always good. When you get a rejection letter that gives you constructive feedback, that's always good. And he took that feedback, realized there was a gap in the story, filled the gap with a 5-word sentence.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And it changed everything, and he won the big prize. So he got $1,000 per word, $5,000.
That's true. I did get the grand prize.
Something like that.
The four first place winners definitely are up for the grand prize, the Golden Pen Award, and I won it, and I was so shocked.
Wow.
Jake, I'm a sucker for oh gosh, what is it? Don't tell me. Paranormal. I'm a sucker for paranormal stories. Yeah,
yeah.
I love them. Yeah, I think I'm more of a fan of paranormal than I am of like science fiction. I'm a fan of, but not so much fantasy. That's just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that every genre there's a story for everyone in every genre. Luckily, we have so many different there's so many different voices out there right now, and this is a great time for fiction. But that doesn't mean that there's not room for new voices. That's the most exciting part, is that even though we were all sort of in a competition to win the contest, none of us felt like once we got to you get a writer's workshop as part of the win. You get to be flown to Hollywood, and you get a week-long writer's workshop with some of the best names in the field, like David Farland and Tim Powers and Kevin Janison and Nnedi Okorafor, and it was the most exciting to get to meet all of these new writers who have all these different, varied voices, but we were no longer in a competition. I mean, technically, the first place winners were, but I knew I hadn't won it, so I didn't treat that week like I knew I hadn't won it because the ghost story, I didn't think it was going to win the Golden Pen. So I was just there to have a great time. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Did you get to meet the women that handled the fire in the opening act of the? They were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, if I had that, it was such a whirlwind night for me. I hope I was nice to them, but I don't know if I actually.
Yeah, right.
I love that part.
All right, so I have a question that might indicate some paranormal activity.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, the question is, did the artist who created the picture that went with your story have maybe some kind of a intuitive sense about your story that just boggled your mind? I'm just curious about that.
Meeting Ryan Richmond was quite a treat. He did this beautiful piece of art that I think is exactly how I'm meeting readers to my story. It's not what I pictured in my story, which makes it even more fascinating to me how my story is reacting, and other people, especially him as an artist. He's so wonderfully talented, and he's such a nice. He's just this kid from Indiana. He's the coolest kid, and I say he's a kid because he's like 23 or something. So
he's younger than you,
right?
Yeah, but part of the event, part of our writers' workshop, is we get to go and meet the artists who, each one of the illustrator winners get one of our stories, and they create a piece of art inspired by our story. And we walk into a room, and we see all of the beautiful artwork around, and everybody's speechless because the artists are so good you can immediately, luckily we've read everybody's story at that point, so I'm looking and I see everybody's story. Here's Stephen Lawson's story, Moonlight One, and here's Vila Merilanen's story, and I was just so excited, and then I knew what mine was because it had a cool ghost on it. I kind of freaked out, and I broke the tension of the room by saying something like, "This is awesome!" really loud, and everybody was so quiet that everybody then could laugh and relax, and we all ended up hugging and going crazy, and it was a crowded room full of people all chattering at once. But it was so exciting to get to see how beautifully he interpreted my story, and the things that felt powerful to him, and the images that caught his attention. And like I said, even though it's not exactly how I pictured it, it doesn't matter, because when you see that piece of art, you want to read the story that goes with it. He did a perfect job as an illustrator to grab readers for me and say, they see the art, and they go, I want to read that story. That's the story I'm going to read. I want to read Acquisition. And luckily, so many of us had artists that interpreted their stories in that same way.
Yeah, and in a way, that's kind of a paranormal moment right there, when somebody you've never met who read your words that came out of your mind and somehow envisioned what it might look like. Ed, I don't know.
Yeah, he had these little details, like this flashlight that was in the story, and the little talisman on a bone that was in my story, and he had all these great little little pieces of it hidden in the picture when I got close, and I just I was bouncing on my feet. I was so happy.
Oh man, I have to look at the picture again. It's all of the stories are in the Writers of the Future Volume 33. I just went to the Amazon page for the book. I know there are other ways you can get the book, but I always go to Amazon to see the ratings. 53 customer reviews and 5 stars. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. This is, the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future volumes. The last few years, they've made the bestseller list, and so we were really hoping to make that too. I think we're going to find out this week. But it's a really, really exciting book, and there's so many great voices. Sometimes you read an anthology and there might be, some good, some bad. But this one, when I had the opportunity to read it, I'm like, my goodness, I am in a collection full of some really, really, really talented writers.
If they turn this volume into an audiobook, will you be reading your own story?
I don't know, but I love audiobooks. I drive for my day job. I drive all the time, so I listen to audiobooks relentlessly, and so I'm really pushing them to do an audiobook because I would love that. But whether I read it or not, I'm okay either way.
Well, especially if they did it in the style of the Battlefield Earth audiobook. That's
oh my goodness, that was so good.
That's unparalleled. All right, so okay, I had a question for you, and I can't remember what it was. Ooh, never mind. But anyway, so congratulations on the book. Oh, I know what I want to ask you. Do you know if L. Ron Hubbard lived long enough to see any of the actual ceremonies, like the one you went to?
Oh goodness, I don't know when he passed away. I do know that he did establish the contest, and he got some of the giants of the field at the time to help judge it, and that's kind of a something that they maintain today. There's some amazing judges that we have who run the contest, but I really don't know what year he passed.
It's the only part of this whole thing that I always feel a little sadness about, is that he couldn't be there and see you win. Unless your paranormal is maybe he was there.
Well, there you go. It is an incredible legacy, though. That's something that you can't really get any other way without having some kind of foresight. This is such an incredible opportunity for new authors and illustrators that having his name on it, it is L. Ron Hubbard Presents the Writers of the Future. So we do acknowledge that, absolutely.
And for him to be as successful as he was and still recognize that there were very talented people out there that were getting rejected unfairly, or I think that's why this whole thing exists, because he saw that.
Yeah, and one could say it's not necessarily even unfairly that every writer just needs to connect with an editor or a publisher, but it does definitely gives us a leg up. We all of us have tried to break through. We haven't really connected with that one person yet, and this way we're connecting now with a huge audience that I don't think any of us would have been able to access by ourselves yet. Well, and so getting to be together is pretty exciting.
Can you imagine if you had a car for sale and nobody was buying the car, and all of a sudden somebody pointed out to you, the reason we're not buying it is because there's a bird poop stain on the hood, and
right.
All you had to do was get the bird poop stain off, and the car would sell. So that positive feedback that you got, from somebody in the know, I mean, that positive. That's a bad metaphor, wasn't it?
No, that's all right.
But anyway, I just think the positive feedback, even if it is a negative. In other words, even if you're getting rejected, if you get positive feedback in that rejection, as you got, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
I think the perfect kind of contestant for this contest is anyone who's gotten any personal feedback from an editor. If you've gotten personal feedback, that means you are so close to getting published, and this contest is absolutely perfect for you then.
Oh, excellent.
Wow.
I like the way you said that. Okay. Jake Marley, it's an honor to get to speak to you. We became fans instantly, and congratulations on all you do. And
thank you.
Keep doing it. For everybody else, go to writersofthefuture.com. That's how you can do what Jake has just told you he did. We will be right back. Thank you.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. A Cleveland man claims he was angry at a woman when he randomly shot and killed a man passing by, then posted it on Facebook. Police hunting for 37-year-old Steve Stevens in several states.
We're asking the public to remain vigilant. We're asking you to go about your day, but to be careful.
Cleveland Police Chief Calvin Williams. On another video, Stevens claims to have killed more than a dozen people. Those shootings not confirmed by police. Vice President Mike Pence with a warning for North Korea after its failed weekend missile test.
The vice president said President Trump is hopeful China will use its extraordinary levers to pressure Pyongyang to abandon its weapons.
If China is unable to deal with North Korea, the United States and our allies will.
Vice President Pence calling the North's failed missile launch a provocation.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland, the vice president in the Korean DMZ, part of a 10-day Asia-Pacific tour. Fox News, we report, you decide.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
As a 300-foot tall dino monster, people think all I'm good at is rampaging. But there's more to me than that. Just like Geico. Yeah, they could save you money, but they also have over 75 years of savings and service. So Geico is super good at insurance. And yeah, I like rampaging. But I'm also a huge fan of
Geico. Expect great savings and all.
Hey, this is Matt Wilkerson from Verizon. You work all day, right? So why would you want to spend your night out shopping for that new phone? Well, Marion County, let me and Verizon help you out. I can deliver to your home or office, saving you precious